Hello, and welcome to The Right Mama with Jennifer Aline. We are going to jump right into it today. If you can't tell, I'm pretty cozy. I've got a big sweatshirt on, some fluffy socks, and instead of coffee, I have wine. It is nighttime. My girls finally fell asleep, and we are going to talk today about content editing. And we're going to dive in a little bit to my experience with my first week of content edits. So let's get started. We're just going to start off with a description of what content edits are. In the future, as I go through my personal editing process with my book that's going to be coming out hopefully at the end of 2020, is through the process we're going to talk about the different forms of edits and kind of get a glance into how I'm doing, what I'm learning from these, and hopefully my experience can help you out. You can get a little more informed about the different editing processes that are out there and just kind of learn more about this whole crazy publishing industry. Content editing is also known as developmental editing, and it's kind of the part of the editing process where you focus on the plot, the subplot, if there's any holes in the story, how the character arcs are. It's kind of the moving of parts part of the editing process. And if you have an editor, whether it's a freelance editor, if you're a self-published author, or an editor through a small press like myself, or an editor at one of the big five houses, content editing or developmental editing is usually a really big part of the process to getting your book out to the people and in their hands. And I, last week, received my content edits from my editor. And for a few days, I did kind of avoid the editing because I got nervous. It's exciting and nerve-wracking all at the same time. I'm really starting this. And also, editing is not my favorite. I like writing, I like creating. Editing makes me a little nervous. So I did quickly pull up my publishing house's handbook just to kind of go over the editing process that they do. Every press and publishing house and even freelance editors' process is very different. But for mine, we have about 4 to 8 weeks of content edits. So I have until the end of February to get those done. After that, we move on to, I believe, our stylistic or line edits. So from there, it's some of the more specific stuff. So after the content edits, it comes a little bit more to the nitty-gritty details, which are the stylistic or line edits, so kind of line-by-line details. And that usually goes for us about 3 to 4 weeks. But like I said, everybody is very different when it comes to their editing process. And then the last editing part that we go through is the copy edit. And that is kind of near the end, and that's really the details, the nitty-gritty, like I said, but it's even nittier and grittier than the nitty-gritty of the stylistic and line edits. It's really just making sure it's clean and sharp and ready to go to our ARC readers so people can really enjoy it and like it and read it as a full, clean, and polished book. That's really how we do it. So after the content edits, I will do the stylistic and line edits, and then copy edits and proofreading, and then we'll really get down to business when it comes to getting this book out. So I'm just going to show you kind of how my first week went when it came to content edits. Take a look. Okay, so I finally got my content edits from my editor. And I'm kind of freaking out. I haven't opened it yet, and I don't know when I will, and I know I have like 6 weeks to get it done, but I'm a little scared about it for some reason. Actually, I know why. I'm not a big fan of edits, and I know there'll be some content things I need to change around, and that's a lot of work. And I'm really lazy and don't like waking up really early, so I need to figure out how to get some coffee to like be delivered to my bed so I can get my butt up early and work on these edits for the next 6 weeks. Hopefully I can get to a coffee shop on the weekend for the next like month and get this all done. So I'm really excited, and the editing process has officially started for my book. I read over the editor's report, which is kind of just like an overview of the content edits that the editors made for my manuscript, and there could be more. I guess I can say I knew that I would have some content issues that I'd have to fix. A lot of it's in the beginning. There's a couple character arc things I need to adjust. So I'm about to open up the manuscript and just look at the first few chapters and just kind of take a look and make a game plan. I just taught a couple ESL classes, and my girls shouldn't wake up for like another hour. So I'm drinking my coffee and going to try to just look over these first few chapters and officially start my content edits. Eek. I read over some of the assignments that were on the side bar for my manuscript, and I kind of outlined and kind of made a little plan for myself. And I emailed back and forth with my editors, and a really nice thing about having a small press as your publishing house is that you can communicate and talk about certain things that maybe you don't agree with, or certain changes you want to kind of try to adjust in a way. So today I was going back and forth with my editors, and we came to an agreement on something. So this weekend I will be doing a lot of rewriting my first 3 chapters and making things a little different, and hopefully I can get that attacked this weekend. That's my main goal. And then there's a bunch of other things I'll have to do throughout the manuscript, of course, but the first 3 chapters I really got to work on something. So right now that's my goal for this weekend. So I am at a little coffee shop. It's brand new in our area, and it is gorgeous. It is amazing. Plus the coffee's wonderful too. I've been here for a few hours now, but look at this place. It is beautiful. It's great. I've gotten some work done. One of my friends came and got some work done too. Really read a little bit. But I'm going to get some more content edits done. I can be here for like another hour and a half. And hopefully I can get these first 3 chapters rewritten and updated and chronologically correct, so I can keep going. I have a feeling I will be here next week. My girls are hanging out with their grandma today, so I got to escape to a nearby coffee shop again. I have a problem. So I just did some work. I needed to catch up on some of my articles and social media things, but now I'm going to try to conquer the last part of the beginning content edits that I need to do. And it's hard. This is hard to do. I know this will probably be the hardest part when it comes to the edits, the content edits. I still have like over a month that I need, that I have to finish these. So I just ordered some food. I finished my coffee, and hopefully I can get this done. My first week of content edits was interesting. I learned a lot about the process, a lot about myself as a writer and soon to be published author, and I learned a lot about how nice it is to be with a small press. Of course, I've always wanted to have a literary agent. I've always wanted to be, published in one of the big 5 houses. But though that goal is still not something I'm pushing aside, it has been really nice to have such personal communication with the editors at my small press. That is a pro that I see when it comes to being swooped up by a small publishing house. You do have that connection. But before I talk more about that, let's go through a few things I learned about myself and about this process over the last week. Number 1 is what I kind of just jumped into. I'm realizing how nice it is to have a small press as your team. I really was able to communicate easily and quickly with the editors at my house because there were some things in the first few chapters we had to discuss. There were some major changes we wanted to make, and there were some things that I wasn't 100% on board with. So I was able to communicate that with my team. And You can't always do that when it comes to having your book out there and you're being published by a big publishing house. When you have a small press, you're able to communicate this and you're able to talk and discuss the other options you have. You come together and you find something that works. And that happened. That was kind of the first few days after receiving those edits. That's kind of what was going on. I didn't jump right into it yet. One, because I was a little nervous. And two, because I wanted to stay loyal and true to where my heart is in the story. And I really appreciate the fact that my editors were able to support my beliefs, my view for the story, and make something that worked for both of us. The second thing that I learned through this process is there's a lot that I still don't know. There were a lot of little silly mistakes that, even through the content edits, that were being caught. Little things that I'm really learning about myself as a writer that I've always known, but now I'm really getting to dig down to the nitty-gritty of these little things and these little changes I need to make them for real, keep them in my brain, remember them, and move forward with these. So it's nice to know that there's still a huge, I know that there's a lot I need to learn, but I am learning that as a writer, you're always growing. You're always learning about the craft, about the writing world and how it works and how you work as a writer. So that was really nice to kind of have the nice feedback, the commentary on the sides when you're updating your manuscript from my editors, the kind words stating, this is wrong, but, telling you the right way to do it or some suggestions. So you're always learning. I'm always learning about this craft. The third thing that we're going to talk about in this video for what I've learned during this first week of content edits is it's not really something I've learned, it's something I know and something that needs to be changed. And it's that I'm not a morning person at all. I teach some ESL classes early in the morning to students in China, but right now it is the Chinese New Year and my bookings are very low. So if I don't have to wake up for that, even if I set an alarm a bazillion times saying, Jenny, wake up and do your content edits, somehow my girls end up in my room waking me up when they wake up, and I just don't wake up. I will stay up late. I will do my content edits late. I will do my work when I have a break here and there to go to a coffee shop, or when my girls, are being watched by their dad and I can sneak out a little bit. That's when I get my work done. I really, really want to hold myself accountable for this next month and a half-ish, or a little less, maybe a month, that I have to finish these content edits and get up some mornings and do it. I only have, like I said, till the end of February to get these content edits done. And I'm going to do a part 2 of this video, kind of wrapping up what I learned this past month when I did these content edits. And I'm really hoping at the end of February, I can say, yeah, I got up a few times in the morning and I got work done. And I'm going to, this is accountability right here. I'm going to do it. I have to do it. And it feels good when I do it. So even though this is not something I really learned this past week, it's something that just made me a little bit more frustrated and made me realize I need to kick my butt into gear and get my butt up and get things done. Those are just a few things that I learned this past week since I got my content edits. I'm really excited to get these done. I'm a little nervous. I'm really hoping I find the time, like in the mornings, to get up, do those content edits, and learn more about my writing. I really am learning a lot about this process. And though it's just the beginning, it's exciting. And I'm excited to see how this next month works, how my brain works, how my alarm works, and get these things done. So thank you for watching. We will have a second part of this video at the end of February when I'm done with my content edits. If you liked this kind of content, please ring the bell below, subscribe, and comment if you have any suggestions, have any ideas for future videos that are along these lines. So thank you for watching. Stay creative and drink your coffee, or sometimes drink your wine.